Hey everybody, Tim Anderson here, aka Renfill. Welcome back. It is time to review the next book in the Chronicles of Amber by Roger Zelazny, and this time we're talking The Hand of Oberon, which is book 4 in the overall series. And man, I just feel like every book in this series, as you get deeper in, it's like Zelazny takes it up another notch and just hits you with more stuff and more mysteries and more things that come out of the woodwork, and it's pretty amazing. So we're going to be diving into that today. If you haven't already done so, and this is your first time tuning in, don't forget to check out the links below. There's a link to my Goodreads channel if you want to read book reviews and the books I've written. You can also subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon to get updates for future content. I review books, shows, and other things on this channel, video games, do a lot of pop culture stuff and discussions and beyond. So hopefully you'll stick around for the other things. Like the video if you do like it. Let's dive right in to Book 4, The Hand of Oberon. So, picking up where the last book left off, the last book was a murder mystery novel where we were dealing with all of the siblings together in one place, figuring out what had happened to Brand, um, Corwin continuing to uncover more of what happened to him when he had amnesia and who may or may not have been behind the assassination attempt on his life. And he thought he kind of had that ironed out in the last book. And then we get into this book and we start to realize that, oh no, there's a lot more at play here, and there's a lot more to uncover. Um, we get to dive in more into the relationship between Corwin and um, Dworkin, who we find out in this book is his grandfather. Now, this is something that Corwin didn't suspect. They just kind of thought Dworkin was this crazy old man who their dad hung out with, and he had some strange magical powers which allowed him to um, create the trump cards that they used to travel around. But come to find out, his grandfather, Dworkin is his grandfather, and Dworkin apparently used to be part of the Courts of Chaos and was part of a rebellion many years ago and left there and was the one who, as my understanding of things are, drew the pattern and underneath the real in the real Amber and created all of the reality that exists as we know it today and worked, I guess, hand in hand with his son Oberon, who is the father of all of these individuals: Corwin, Brand, Eric, Fiona, Random, all the other siblings that currently exist. So we get a bit of a lore dump in this book because it's like, oh, so Dworkin isn't just some crazy old man. He's actually the grandfather, and he's the one who founded Amber. He's the one who drew the first pattern. But he was parts of the Courts of Chaos at one point, so that means his bloodline, that means Corwin's bloodline comes from the Courts of Chaos as well. So like maybe is their power coming from chaos and not from order? Like what's going on here? So there's all of these thoughts like that are going through Corwin's head. Um, and that's a big reveal that happens sort of, I want to say, like about a third of the way through the book. It might be a little bit deeper in. I don't really remember exactly. I kind of plowed through this book in 3 days and was just like, which is a record for me. But it was a really fun read. So we get that lore dump. And then we get into the whole um, Corwin having conversations with Brand and realizing that Brand may have lied to him about a whole bunch of stuff in book 3 and beginning to realize that Brand might be a little bit off his rocker. Now, Brand tells him about some of this stuff. We find out that Corwin confronts Brand. Brand admits, yes, I was the one who marred the pattern in the previous book. And yes, I stabbed Martin, who is Random's son, and I tried to kill him, and it's all for good cause because, you know, trying to fix things and all this other stuff. And there is a kernel of truth to all that, which Corwin believes at the beginning, and Brand gives him this whole spiel about how we've got to get the only way to fix the pattern is we've got to get the gem of judgment, I think, the jewel of judgment, and we got to get it, and you got to walk the pattern. Where did you leave it? And Corwin's like, well, I left it on Shadow Earth. And things progress from there, and towards the latter third of the book, Corwin realizes that Brand was fibbing about everything this whole time, and he's actually been after the gem for the jewel for his own purposes because he doesn't want to repair the pattern. He wants to obliterate the pattern and rewrite reality in his own image like their grandfather did before. So then it becomes this race against time of Corwin trying to get back to Earth to get the gem before Brand, but that doesn't happen. Um, there's a bunch of other stuff that goes down. There's confrontations that happen. There is an ending. We're not exactly sure. It doesn't necessarily get confirmed what happens to Brand, but there is an ending per se. But then the biggest reveal of all happens at the end of the book, and I don't spoil it in the Goodreads review, and I'm not going to spoil it here. But I will say this one thing, and hopefully this doesn't spoil it for people. So Oberon, their father, Corwin's dad, the dad of all the Ambers, he's been missing throughout the first few books, and it's alluded to in the first book that everyone assumed he was dead, and then as we get into the second and third book, we kind of realize that no one really, he's not actually dead, but he's missing, and no one knows why. And it's like, well, why did he abdicate? And then it's like, there's this whole thing of where he was manipulating the sons, wanted Corwin to be in place, and then wanted Eric out of the way. And so he was manipulating things behind the scene before he just disappeared. And he's been gone this whole time. And then at the end of this book, Corwin starts to realize that, you know what? This feels like we were manipulated into all of this. Like I feel like there's something at play here. Tell you what, and him and Benedict take their dad's trump card and go to contact him via the trump card. And when he answers, the face he answers with is someone that Corwin has been associating with since the second novel. So it's someone who's been there through books 2, 3, and 4, and who has been an individual who has been interacting with Corwin regularly on a regular basis and given a lot of like advice even in the last couple of books. And when you find out who the reveal is, I was literally sitting there go, I can't believe I didn't remember this. Like, this is a brilliant reveal. This is like, last act plot twist. Guess what? And that's literally how the book ends. And it is like the perfect sort of cliffhanger ending of dad's like, I'm back. And obviously he's been pulling strings this whole time to reach this objective. And now we get to see what's going to happen because now we're back into book 5. And for those of you who don't know, book 5 is the end of the original Amber Chronicles. Um, it wasn't until like six or so many, like half a dozen years later when Roger Zelazny came back and wrote the second 5 books, which follow Corwin's son. Merlin, I think is his name. I'll have to focus on that when I get there. But in the meantime, we got one more book to go to wrap up the first half of the Amber Chronicles, so hopefully you'll stick around for that. Don't forget, you can check out my Goodreads review below. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, all those good things. Join our Discord community if you want down below. And again, if you want to support me, my wife, and my brother, and you want to check out some of my writing, everything we're doing with the Weave and the Void can be found over at patreon.com/wandering hermits, where we are building the world of the Weave and the Void. Book chapters are published twice a month. Those are like Dragonlance Chronicles with artwork from Chris. And then we've got the 5th edition tabletop world sourcebook and campaign modules, which are due out in Q2 of this year. And then the point and click adventure game, which is like King's Quest. It's more like Quest for Glory. It's more like King's Quest. It's a blend, but that's due out at the end of the year. You can get in for as little as $3 a month, support the channel here, get to access to the chapters as they're published, and you can go pre-order all the products there. So hopefully we'll see you there as well as in Discord. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. Stay tuned for the next one. Stay safe, everybody, and happy reading.